Hi. It's been a while since I've had a video. I've been meaning to make one for a while now, and I just kept putting it off because I was like, oh, I gotta write some stuff down first, or I gotta prepare for it, and and it's if I keep doing that, it's never gonna happen. So I thought, you know what, today I'm just gonna I'm just gonna record for 10 minutes and see what comes out of my mouth. This is probably part one in a series because I do not want this to be more than 10 minutes. Even though I feel like I have a lot to say because it's been so long. But hello! So, where do I even start? It's been 2 years since my book came out, which blows my mind. And, there was so much momentum. For me, personally, when my book came out, I was so proud of it. I felt like was getting so much positive feedback, and I was setting up readings and my book launch and everything was going great. And then my mom's health took a nosedive, and we ended up putting her into hospice at the end of the year of 2017. It was actually New Year's Eve. My older brother was up in Toronto admitting my mom into hospice. And she was there for the entire month of January and passed away on January 30th. And yeah, my everything just kind of stopped, and my whole world stopped, and I went into some deep grieving. And grief was so many different forms, but the thing I was most surprised about with grief was how angry I felt. I retreated from all social media. I really wanted my world to be small. I just wanted it to be my family, my close friends. I couldn't think of my business. I think I was angry because I just felt cheated. This was not the story that was going to play out in my life when it came to my mom. And I had a lot of issues to deal with. There was a big emptiness inside of me, and I was filling it with food and alcohol and keeping myself busy. Around March of that same year, it became pretty clear to me that I was going to be volunteering to be the PTA president at my son's school, which now looking back at it feels like it was a really welcome diversion from all the stuff that was going on. But it's an incredibly time-consuming job, and I welcomed it at the time. I threw myself into it so that I didn't have to think about anything else. I really didn't want to have to think about the fact that I was gaining weight from eating and the grief, and I wasn't feeling confident enough to have my business, even though my entire business is wrapped around the complexities and complications of our relationship with our weight. I myself was hiding and in hibernation because I felt like nobody was going to want to listen to me because I was such a hot mess. And so I took that time to dive into something else that was completely, utterly time consuming. And I did that for most of, from June on, and didn't really think much about worth it. And a friend of mine who was really into essential oils, Young Living essential oils, had introduced me to a class I think it was in January of 2019. So in January of 2019, I went to a yoga class in New Paltz that was an essential oil infused yoga class. And she had sort of introduced me to oils a little bit. I wasn't kind of that into them. I had bought a starter kit from Young Living in December of 2018, which was, had some oils in it, and it came with a diffuser, and I thought they smelled nice and stuff, but I really wasn't that into them. But I went to this yoga class, and the instructor, Tanya Roby, was doing a workshop where she was teaching a hot yoga class, but it was also using essential oils, and felt amazing. And so afterwards, she had sort of a Q&A session where we could talk about it. And she had, put a drop of this pure Young Living therapeutic grade peppermint oil. She said, put it on your hand, put it on the palm of your hand, and ask your body where it wants you to put it. And I just thought, what an amazing experience. I mean, I did that. I asked my body, it told me where to put it, and I put it there. And it was just such this beautiful reaction that my body had and that I had. And, just the inhalation, the breath, the relaxation, so much of it was, I just felt so incredibly emotional and moving. And I thought, wow, if we could pair this with what I was talking about with my body image coaching, and talk about how, various ways in which you could harness your body's intuition. So what I had already been talking about, which was intuitive eating and intuitive movement, but then this whole other element that had occurred to me, which was, the olfactory, the sense, and being in touch with your body's reactions to smells and listening to, what it's telling you to do. It just appealed to me. And I really liked Tanya on so many other levels because she was teaching a yoga class where she was just always in, keeping you kind of in your body, being very thankful for what it does for you, like thanking your hips for getting you out of bed every day, and thanking your feet for holding you up, and, just really sort of getting you into a state of mind where you're appreciating your body. And I just was, found it so overwhelming. And I approached her after that first class and I said, I feel like you and I need to do something together. And I told her what I did and how I was this anti-diet activist and a body image coach, but I had really just sort of put everything on hold for a while and was really struggling. And she thought it was a great idea. And so we got together and we started talking about what is now the Thank You Body workshops. And I feel like I need to backtrack a little bit and talk about how yoga has played such an important role in my own recovery, because it's, even though I talked about yoga and meditation and how important they were in my book, it wasn't until after my book was published that where was I? So even though I had written about the yoga in my book, I had really not been doing a regular practice, and that was something I had talked about in my most recent video, the last one I did before this, which was I was an emotional wreck, because what I didn't say in that video was that I had gone off of antidepressants that summer, and okay, let me gather my thoughts. What do I want to talk about next? So I've been very open about the fact that I've been on antidepressants since Max was 8 months old. I went on them for postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And, I had gone on antidepressants for Anna as well, for postpartum depression. And then I had gone off of them when I got pregnant, when I wanted to get pregnant with her, when we were trying. And then I was off them while I was pregnant, and then nursing Max. And then around 8 months, I nursed for as long as I could. And I wanted to nurse for much longer, but I felt like I needed to wean him in order to do this thing for myself. And but he's now 8, and I after my mother died, I felt like I've always had a very ambivalent relationship with antidepressants and being medicated, and always sort of wanting to find out what my natural baseline is, and always wondering, who am I really? Always feeling like, if I have a bad day, I feel like if I'm sad, imagine how bad it would be if I wasn't on antidepressants, but also sometimes wondering if they were even working. And anyway, so after my mom died, I just felt like I was not feeling connected to my reactions. I didn't know if I was reacting the way I wanted to. I didn't know if I was reacting enough, or I just felt like because I was on the medication, I just didn't know whether or not what I was feeling was authentic, and it was bothering me. So I decided last summer that I was going to go off of antidepressants, and so I weaned off of them for about a month of half doses, and then just went off them. And it was a really bad idea. I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't set up for it. And I was very emotional, and I was angry, and I was yelling and crying, and after a couple weeks I thought, oh my god, this is not the person I want to be. If this is me without antidepressants, then I'm happy to be on them for the rest of my life. So I went back on them and decided that's it, that'll just be me for the rest of my life. And then fast forward, that was last summer, then fast forward to this past spring, around April or May, and I had read this article that was in the New Yorker about long-term use of SSRIs and other various medications, and how the fact that we're all kind of like guinea pigs and we don't really know what we're doing. And so I decided, and it also said that, we don't really understand or give enough credit to the weaning process, that there could be a very, very long period of time of withdrawal, and who knows what that is. So it never had occurred to me, I can't believe it, but it had never occurred to me that what I was going through during that month that I was off of them was likely a withdrawal period. It was not actually the real me. And so after talking with my therapist and my doctor for a while, I decided I was going to try again, much slower, at a much slower pace. And so meanwhile, I wanted to make sure that I was setting myself up for success by making sure that I had a lot of joyful movement and activity in my life, that I was doing a lot of breath work, meditation, stuff that works for me when I'm feeling stressed and anxious. And I wanted to make sure that I was doing a lot of yoga, because I know yoga is just so therapeutic. And I'm going to end the video there and do another one as a part 2, which I will talk more about my journey with yoga and ultimately the Thank You Body workshop and what it's been doing for me and my body image, and also how I have been using essential oils to help with my mood and filling me up. When I talked about how I was feeling empty after my mother passed away, and I was using food and alcohol and not feeling very good about myself, and realizing that essential oils have been working tremendously for me in terms of filling me up. And so just wanted to elaborate on what that means, and find out if anyone else out there is going through the same experience, in terms of how the olfactory is related to the limbic system, and how scent can dramatically affect your hypothalamus and your amygdala and your reactions and your emotions, and how you deal with decision making, and all of that stuff that I've been doing tons and tons of research on, and I'm just fascinated by. So stay tuned for part 2. But I'm glad I got out what I did get out, and I'll see you later. Hope you're all well. Take care. Bye.